How you doing? This is Andy from Black Veil Brides, and you're watching Reality Check TV.
You ready for the show? Look at that hat over there. Look at all the people here tonight. Exclusive. We got one of the hot new school bands that are taking the country by storm here. We got Andy from the Black Veil Brides. Man, how are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Yeah, it's great, man. I just got him. It is a live crowd going around the block. Have you seen it?
I have not looked out there yet, but I believe you.
Yeah. We got a lot of them, and they're just all pumped up, man. It's gonna be a good show tonight, man.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah, great. This is your first time headlining in San Francisco?
You know what? Yeah, this is our first time on a solo tour headlining. We did a package tour with the Alternative Press magazine last year or 2 years ago. We came through here, but this is our first time on a solo headlining tour with just one opening act and everything. So.
San Francisco, how you motherfuckers doing tonight? We are the Black Veil Brides from Hollywood, California. And this is the Church of the Wild Ones.
So your latest album, we gotta give that a plug. Wretched Divine, the story of the Wild Ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is a concept album. Doing a concept album must be a real challenge compared to just doing a regular album.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we looked at it as something that was not necessarily making a record, as we were trying to make something that was, we're all big fans of comic books and kind of the more theatrical approach to stuff, when we like the idea of making kind of a big musical comic book, and that's kind of how we looked at it. So it was definitely a difficult process, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is also is because each song is telling part of a story, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and to make each song good and listenable while telling a story, that's probably one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, well, and particularly in the day of iTunes and everything else like we are now, people just they'll listen to one song or whatever, and we wanted to make an album that was completely cohesive, and it's probably better that you listen to it from front to back, but you can listen to individual songs, and it's not going to freak you out or anything.
You have plans of turning this into a movie, I understand.
Yeah, we made a 45-minute sort of short film, and we showed it in theaters in New York and L.A. And we're going to try to bring it everywhere throughout the year and have different showings and stuff. But it's also going to be released on Blu-ray in the summer.
It's not going to be like a theatrical, that's kind of a short movie, 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think that we tried to do what fit best to the story. The initial idea was to try to make a full-fledged movie, and we figured the longer that we played it out, we didn't want to do something that felt like we were stretching the story out, unnecessarily.
You had some guest vocals, too, on some of the songs, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we had Will Francis, who is William Control, who's been on this tour with us. He does the voice of the kind of the bad guy in Fear. Juliet Sims, who is my girl, and also we had Burt McCracken from the Used came in, and it was a great time.
Yeah. This also could maybe be translated into rock opera, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've heard people describe it as that. For us, we just made a rock record. It has a story, but I hate to put too many labels on it.
Yeah. But you guys are actually kind of hosts in the movie, right? With actors.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are more. We perform the songs as sort of vignette pieces, and then the actors kind of play within them.
Would there be a comic book to it?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. And actually, we've got artwork prepared, and we worked with panels with a guy who's doing inks for it right now, and we want to try to get something like that out within the next year.
What was it like transition, being a guy from Cincinnati then coming to Hollywood? I mean, how was that whole transition?
Well, none of the guys in the band are from Cincinnati. They're all from different places in the Midwest, and then they all relocated to Los Angeles as well. I moved to L.A. when I was 17. I dropped out of high school, and I just had this, kind of abiding belief that I was going to be in this successful rock band, and I was going to do all these things. And I was homeless when I moved out there. I had no money. I lived in my car, and over time I just kind of kept my nose down and kept working and meeting guys in bands and writing with people and figuring things out. And then eventually by late 2009, we had come up with the complete lineup, and that's when we got signed, and things really started going from there.
That's a rock and roll story. Somebody was telling me you went by the name of Andy Six at one time?
You know what? What's funny is that you remember when everybody had like screen names on the internet?
Yes.
So whenever I first started my first like whatever social networking account or whatever, my dad used to call me Andy Six or Andy Simmons or these kind of like funny things when I was a kid because I tried to emulate when I was 6, 7 years old these people that I looked up to. And so whenever I made my screen name, I just made it that because I thought it was a thing. It was like a nickname. Yeah. And then the band started to catch on, and people then knew me as that. And it was like an accidental thing where it became like my stage name, but that was never my intention. And then it kind of became a thing where it was like I kind of created this character that was supplementary to myself, where I had this Andy Six character, this persona. And obviously, the older I got, and then the closer I became to doing the things I wanted to do, I had no interest in ever being called someone else's name. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to say that Nicky is a friend of mine, and that we've gotten very close, and he's someone that has definitely been a mentor to me and the band from very early on. So, not to say he's not a wonderful person, but I think he and I even had conversations. I've always wanted to be under my own name, and it was just kind of a thing where things kind of got blown out of proportion with people calling me that, and it was never my intention to go by that stage name.
By Nicky Six, dug your band, yet commented that the party generation has died.
Particularly when that interview was done that I think you're referencing, Nicky didn't really know much about us as people yet. I think we had just heard the band or heard the records. And also, I mean, to be honest with you, the party thing is something that is secondary to us, to the music. I mean, I know in a lot of the times in the 80s, it was more about the sort of crazy, how crazy can we get? And I think that the older we get or the more we tour, the less insanity there is. And don't get me wrong, there's still quite a bit of alcohol flowing and everything else, but we're professionals and we try to do. It's more about the message than it is about how crazy we can get.
Yeah, but I don't think the party thing will ever die in rock and roll. I certainly live it, and I live for the party.
Absolutely. I think we're all here for the same reasons, but I think that sometimes the idea is that there's this kind of people look at the past with rose-colored glasses, and they think that everything was just a huge party all the time. Well, eventually those dudes had to sit down and write great songs. You're not looking at a band like Motley Crue where the stories obviously are there, yes, but also there had to be time to write some music.
Yeah, I saw the Shout the Devil tour with Heavy Patton opening.
Oh yeah,
yeah, back in '84. What would be some of the biggest misconceptions people make about Black Veil Brides?
I think people have never heard us a lot of the times that say shit like they compare us to like weird like dance bands and shit. Like I mean, like I'll sometimes read stuff that people say, and it's like, oh, I hate bands like this and this, and it'll be like Broken Side or whatever, and nothing against that, but it's like we sound nothing like I think sometimes people take the visual aesthetic image and they apply some sort of weird stigma to it. And for me, we're just a hard rock band, and we happen to like theatrical stuff. But honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. People can talk shit all they want. Things are working out for us, so that's all that matters. We just put out a new music video for a song called In the End, which is the new single, and you can see that online anywhere.
Yeah, cool. All right, great. Well, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to meet you, and rip it up in San Francisco tonight, man.
Thanks, man.